I haven't cross-stitched in a few years. Let me explain. So, welcome today to today's Crafternoon. We are going to be crafting some baby bibs. All right. So, what I want to show you that I 100% don't have ready, but you know, um, it's how we do. So what you're looking at is my cross stitch stuff. Okay, let me turn that up a little bit. All right. So what you're looking at is my cross stitch stuff. Excuse me. We are going to make some baby bibs. And now I'm going to show you some baby bibs I've done in the past. There is share screen. All right. So there's this one. This was for one of my bonus nephews. If you are unfamiliar, a bonus nephew or bonus niece, bonus nibbling, if you will. And yes, nibbling is the plural of niece and nephew, gender non-specific. Um, so it's my best friend's kid. All right. So I made this for him when he was born 8 years ago. And then this is a traditional uh baby record. Or that's what they're usually called, as baby records. So it has, this is for our actual niece, um, who, as you can see, born in 2012. And this was a purchased kit. So the kit was this whole design. Um, Again, this was for the bonus niece, uh, Colin's older sister. And this, went too far. This was the other bib that I've made for bonus nephew Juan, um, born in 2017. So, uh, Juan now has a little brother, Luis. And that's what we're doing today. So Luis was born a year ago, and I am behind on doing this. Um, he's already had his first birthday in March, and yeah, I'm just super friggin' behind on making these. And I also have another bonus niece, um, born at the beginning of last March, that I need to make one for her too. So in this series, thank you again for joining me. We Sorry, I just, even through my headphones, heard really loud panting and realized it was Pixel, who is sitting over here off that way, off camera, just panting away. So what we're going to do in this first go round is I'm going to show you how I get set up to start a project. This is the project that we're going to be making. This is it's called Handful of Honey Bib, and this is basically, if you are unfamiliar with counted cross stitch, there are basically two kinds of cross stitch that are not part of like the greater embroidery. I would say embroidery um, is the umbrella term, and cross stitch is a type of embroidery. So, um, cross stitch is there's either stamped cross stitch or counted cross stitch. And this is counted cross stitch, which means the canvas has nothing on it. These are the canvases that we are going to use. The canvas has nothing on it, and we're going to count the stitches. Whereas stamped cross stitch, the canvas itself has the pattern stamped onto it. And the first cross stitch I ever did when I was probably like 13-ish, I never finished because it was a counted, or I'm sorry, it was a stamped cross stitch, and I really didn't like that. I didn't like that my that you could see the pattern underneath my stitches. I didn't like that. So I never even finished it. It was like a herb sampler. Um wasn't really super my style anyway. So I never finished it. But I did take up cross stitch, counted cross stitch, and I like it. So this is what a cross stitch chart will mostly look like. This one I purchased. It is a scan from a kit. So this was a kit that Disney and probably um, Janlin Janlin, sorry, Janlin is a big manufacturer of cross stitch stuff. See, this is made by Janlin. You can see it, and they make a lot of kits. So this was a kit that they made a long time ago. They don't make anymore. So I happened to find a site they had one copy of the kit, or they had one full kit, and a kit. This is not a kit. So let me go back. They had one full copy of the kit, and then they were also selling the high res scans of the instructions separate from the kit. So a kit, when you buy, well, I don't, let me see if I have a kit here in my bag o' tricks to show you that I don't. So I have a big like bag of cross stitch stuff that I keep, and then I have my work in progress bag, and I don't have a kit in the work in progress bag. But a kit generally will have all of this stuff ready to go. It'll come with the needles that you need. It'll come with all the threads that you need, and they won't be in skeins like this. They will be um actually I do have something that came from a kit. Or is this a kit in here that I haven't started? Should be. So they'll come just kind of like this. And sometimes that's helpful, and sometimes it's really annoying because sometimes um, some of the colors will be pretty similar. And okay, I do have a kit in here. I guess one that I was going to start. So a complete kit will look something like this. This is a kit from Janlin. Janlin. I don't know why I always say Janlin. Um, So the complete kit comes with the canvas. It comes with the instructions. And it comes with a needle. Now, I already took the needle out of this, clearly. And it comes with all the thread that you're going to need. Also called embroidery floss or embroidery thread. So as you see on here, it calls it 6-strand cotton floss. And this one does not come with this frame, but I've seen ones that do come with a frame. So it just depends on how complete the kit is. But so all the colors in this design are going to be in here. And this is, excuse me, all these colors are pretty differentiated. They're not, it's a pretty simple pattern. So they're going to be easy to pick out, but sometimes the more complex kits you get will come with similar colors. And sometimes that's kind of annoying to parse out, okay, which one of these is light pink and which one of these is dusty pink, especially if there's no dark pink to really compare them to. So sometimes that gets dicey, but most of the time it's pretty easy. So this is not a kit. This is me putting this project together. So as I said, I purchased the instructions, and this is the one we're going to start. We're going to start this one, and further along in this series, we'll move on to this one, which I will explain is one I had to recreate after finding it on Pinterest as just that little picture. So, okay, we're going to set that aside. What we're going to need is, first and foremost, you need the canvas. So I purchased these canvases and they're kind of hard to come by. So these are made by Charles Craft, and sometimes I see them on Amazon, sometimes I see them in stores, sometimes I don't. So down in the description below, is a link to very similar ones that people make on Etsy. So those are down there. They're usually 14 count. And what 14 count means is, come on, cut. Are you kidding me? What 14 count means is that there are 14 squares in the grid pattern for every inch. So 14 is pretty standard. 12 is pretty wide of a count. I would say most of the time it's 14 count. But if you're doing something really technically small, you can get 16 count, you can get 18 count. I don't know that they go much higher than 18 count, but I'm sure you could find it. So okay. Like I said, this is made by Charles Craft. Also DMC. DMC is the holy grail of floss makers and colors. So you can get thread that's made by other manufacturers, like for example, Coats. Coats and Clark makes a lot of thread for just regular sewing. Coats and Clark makes embroidery thread as well, but I don't know if the colors match. So the nice thing about DMC being the standard is that I can pick up this pattern and see the DMC color numbers, and I can go to the store. They even have these at Walmart. I got these from Joann, but you can go to Joann, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Michael's sometimes. It depends on the size of your Michael's. More and more, I don't see a lot of embroidery stuff at Michael's anymore, but the Michael's near me is on the smaller side. So maybe if you have a bigger Michael's, they haven't pared down their cross stitch section as much as my Michael's has. But and they're under $1 a piece. These were like I think 50 cents a piece. 50, 60, somewhere in there. And you know that you're getting the correct colors. Now, the one that we're going to start after this one had colors listed, but I looked at these colors and they do not match up. So that one is a super simple design. I'm going to have to just look at what I have and piece together what the correct colors should be. But this one had specific colors. So I went and got, set this aside over here. Or, yeah. Okay. So I had this already, and I'm looking through my skeins. So I usually take them out of these and put them onto these, and then write. These are plastic little bobbins, they're called. Not to be confused with the same kind of bobbin you use in a sewing machine. But these are little bobbins. There's a winder you can buy, or you can just, do it by hand. And I have them in order in their drawer, basically. Um, or in a plastic container. So I grabbed a little snack baggie. I like to keep my colors for one project aside in a snack baggie. And so I have my own supplies. These are the colors that I already had that are needed for this project. And then I bought the colors I didn't already have. And actually this one was a rogue in my bag. It doesn't go with this set. So got all my colors for Pooh Bear and his honey pot all set, ready to go. All right. So some things that I have myself for this project that you need, even if you buy a kit. You need a hoop. I have tried to cross stitch in the past without a hoop, and it is a pain in the butt. So this one is a spring-loaded hoop, which I really like for these smaller projects. You can see it keeps the vast majority of the stitchable area in, and it's real easy to slip in and keep taut. The other kind of hoops have so this is a spring hoop, which I have a link for in the description below. And they come in different sizes. I have a couple just in this size. Because I want to get a bigger one. Like this, I believe is a 5-inch. Yeah, that looks about right to be 5 inches. And I want to get a bigger one, but I have a lot of the other ones, which they have a like a nut that you twist to tighten it, and they're same idea as this. You put this backwards. I'm not sure if there's not necessarily a front or a back on this particular, and I'm going to show you real quick and then take it out because I'm going to need to figure out where the center is. But you just kind of push it in there and then let it spring back out so that it keeps this, you can't hear it. But it keeps this tight for your stitching. So Like I said, I'm gonna take that out. You're also going to need your own needle, which I have. These needles, you can buy the embroidery needles in a pack, but what I have found is I have bought so many kits. I have a lot of needles for the kit. Okay, this isn't staying on anymore. This little needle box came with this magnet on it to hold the needles and stuff too, but the magnet stickiness has come off, so I got to fix that. Um, so I also, and this is not necessary. Well, okay, necessary, you're going to need a needle, you're going to need a hoop, you're going to need scissors, snippers, something like that. What I also have is I have a couple of different kinds of needle threaders, and it's just because I'm lazy. So, and I use them pretty interchangeably. I don't generally use these big ones because I don't do anything that big, but I use this one a lot and these ones a lot um, to thread my needles. Then I also have this, which I can use to separate out the colors so that if I wanted to just take some and put it on here, and just know, write down on my pattern that one is gonna be, DMC 782, which is this one. Two is gonna be, the red. Three is gonna be, just going down the list. I can just write a number on here so that I know and put them on here. For this project, because I have these on the bobbins, I'm not sure I'm necessarily going to do that for now. And then something that I also have picked up um, is a needle minder. And well, we're 30 minutes in. That's my needle minder, which will just it's got a magnet glued to the back, and then it's got another magnet. And you just kind of put that so that when you're working and you drop your needle, it'll just uh-oh, why are these stuck together? Weird. Um, it'll just, kind of stick to there and then you know where it is. So let me pick which needle I'm gonna use. I generally you can see as I kind of fan these needles out that most of them have let me see if I can get it to focus on this. Come on, little camera. Ugh. Okay. I'm just gonna end up dropping a bunch of needles, and I don't want to do that. So most of them, um, generally, a needle will have a very small opening, like a sewing needle, but these have very long, wide openings because you have thicker thread. And I'll show you that in a second. I think I am going to go with now. There could be, recommendations for various ones. I generally like a longer needle than a shorter needle, and I think I like this one. We'll give it a shot, and if it doesn't work out, I'll just switch. Because sometimes you just start a project and the needle just doesn't feel right, or it's too wide and it's leaving. Like this is a pretty wide weave, but if you're working with like an 18 count fabric, um, then sometimes you'll find that this is leaving even wider holes. Excuse me. Um, and you don't want that. So I have that. put this over here. And then I also picked these up when I was picking up this thread. I've never used these before, but they are to weave um the loose ends underneath, because a lot of times you'll stitch and stitch and then it'll be like super small and you'll want to pull it through, and sometimes the needle just doesn't, you don't have enough room to do that. So this is kind of a reverse. I mean, I guess I could use something like this too, but these are longer, so it's like a reverse pull it through. Anyway, all right, so while I open this up, some other things to note about embroidery floss. So embroidery floss comes in strands of 6. So when I read you that thing and it said 6-strand cotton floss, just do those so I can get rid of this. Each of these strands has 6 strands within it. These are separated like 2 by 2. It's supposed to be auto-focusing, but you know, I have it upside down and pointed down, so we'll see. And generally when you stitch with 2 of these. Now, the other thing is that in cross stitch, unless you are making a knot to like make a, well, this isn't a good example of that. But if you were making like eyes, and maybe there's eyes on here. I don't see it. No, he doesn't have. But sometimes it'll ask you to make like a French knot to make like a little eye. Or if you were like stitching like a just a backstitch lined font, like, is this a backstitch lined font? Yeah. Kind of like this one. If you were just, this is a whole X, a whole box for the dot of the eye. But if you were just making a single line and wanted to dot an I or a J, a lowercase j or something, then you would make a French knot, which is basically pulling the string through, knotting it, and then putting it back through, but not pulling it all together. That's about the only knot you make in cross stitch. The rest of the time, you are putting the threads underneath other threads to secure them. And it just leads to a flatter piece in general. So, let me crack another soda here. And we can get to going. So, the first thing I want to do is find the center of this fabric and figure out where the center of the design is. So, the easiest way, my mic just keeps like moving around. So, let me try that. The easiest way here is to kind of fold it in fourths as best you can. This is a little tricky since it's not um a square piece. And then use your needle to just kind of stick through where the approximate center is. And then, oh, I am off. Okay. All right. So there, I think I have found the center right there. And I'm just going to leave that sitting here. So the center of this, which I'm just going to fold to help find. All right. the center here is going to be this dot, this circle color. So a lot of times, this is a great example of most charts will just be in two colors. They'll just be red and black, or a different color in black. And they'll use different symbols on the side, like this, uh, to indicate which color. So in this one, the circle is red, so that's what's going to start in the center. So I'm going to start with red. So I also, because I've been doing this a while, have a couple of other tricks up my sleeve here. I also have this magnetic board that comes with the ruler, and it's, magnetic, and it's got this stand so that when I am stitching, I can set up the stand to hold. Come on now. I can set up the stand to hold my pattern with these magnets, and I can use the magnets to kind of help keep track of where I am. And then, of course, my watch. It's it. So then I use the magnets to keep track of where I am on the pattern. Now, I have my own system here that I use to keep track. And although it does come in handy sometimes to just kind of put it along here and help to know where you're at. So I am going to do that. Put this over here. I use highlighters. Oh, okay. It's got to be further up the page. There we go. All right. So I generally, sometimes people just use a pen and cross off what they've done. I use highlighters. So I've got 4 colors of highlighters, orange, blue, pink, and yellow. And I will just highlight the rows in the pattern that I've done. So since we are going to start, the other things I keep on hand, I should note, is I keep a pencil on hand if I need to make any notes. I also keep on hand a pair of pliers because, like I said, sometimes when you get this through and you're trying to pull it through some other, like, behind other stitches, it gets a little tough, and that just helps save my hand strength to use the pliers and grab it and pull it through. Okay, so the first thing this says is cross stitch using 2 strands of floss, back stitch using 1 strand. And back stitch generally refers to the outlines in the pattern. So let me see if I can show you that. Yeah. The outlines in the pattern around the outside are going to be back stitched. So I'm going to start with the red, and I like to pull off probably about twice this amount to get a start. So I like it to where I'm pulling it, there's a good amount on there, but I'm not like, it's not unmanageable to me. But that's, these are just, okay. I also have a second little pair of scissors in here because apparently my snippers are just need to be sharpened, and I don't have any kind of sharpening apparatus, so I need to figure that one out later. Okay. So, got my red, and I just want to separate out. Generally speaking, this is how a lot of people do it. They separate out the two strands, and they will. Let me actually grab a different needle to mark that center. This is the one I want to use. Okay. So what they'll do is they'll take these two strands, feed them through here, which this is a big enough one that I can just kind of show you. And then they'll start from here with the stitch. You just kind of have to hold it. Unlike with sewing where you double it over and tie a knot, you don't do that. You do this, and then when you get all the way to the end, you then, loop your next stitches over that just by holding it. I don't do that because I found a different way to do it that I really like. That holds it taut and it's not a knot. So it's one strand. I'm going to pull out just one strand out of this. Set that aside. And I am going to put it through here and double it over. That one. It's a long wide slit, but it's not super, or it's a long slit. It's not super wide, I should say. Eye. Eye. It's the eye of the needle. I should be saying that and not the slit. Jesus. All right. So instead of doing the one side, I did it wrong already. It's been a while, okay? 2017, that one I showed you, the Dumbo one, that's the last time I cross stitched, okay? So this is a little frayed on the end, and I'm not worried about it because it's the end. But I also have thread conditioner, which is just like a wax, um, that you can run your thread through to just kind of straighten it out and make sure it doesn't fray terribly. All right. So let's get back to this. I'm going to thread the eye of this needle with the two ends. So it looks just like if I had taken two strands. But then what I'm going to do when I go through this center hole is you want to come up from behind and don't pull it all the way through. Make sure to leave a little loop. Make your first little stitch and then, aha, it already did it. Look at that. Come through the link and pull it. So then it is secured. It's there. You're golden. Bob's your uncle. All righty. Okay. So now I need to, since I have determined that this is the back, I need to put this on the hoop so that it is stretched because that just in and of itself was a little rough. Okay, so I want to make sure that kind of stays out of the way and that this is pretty much centered just because I don't want to have to readjust it a lot because the longer these take to make, as you can imagine, this crease in the fabric will kind of be there. Um, so this, I can just do that, and then, my needle will stick to it. So I'll just kind of stick that off to the side. All right. And then it took the needle with it. Okay. So there is my first. So this, you just have to kind of make sure that you're kind of holding it so that it doesn't come out of here and you've got some leeway, because at the end, like I said, you're going to want to put it under these stitches to finish it off. So here comes the trick of the counted cross stitch. So the first thing that you need to know is that you do one direction at a time and then come back to do that. So, and you can do that. You can either do the entire section of that color in just this one way and then come back, or you can do it every line. It really depends on the project for me, whether I do every line I come back over it to make the X, or if I wait and come back over it after I've made a little more progress. So since this is fairly simple, I don't know which I'll do. To be totally honest, it'll just kind of come to me and I'll do it. So I'm gonna say, since this is red, we're gonna use the pink highlighter. Pull that out. And I know from the center of my design being right here, that stitch that I made is right there. So the stitch is right here. So I need to make one on this side and then 1, 2, 3 and a half. Actually, it's a whole one on this side. If you see it like this, where there's, oh gosh, it's just not focusing. If you see it where there's two, focus. Maybe I should just pull up. I'll just pull up the design for you. Cross-stitch charts. Little poo, no. Okay. Share screen. Share tab. Okay. So if you zoom, okay. So let me show you. So we are in the center of the design, which is right here. Now, if you see like this, where there is a square on this side, let me make sure you can see that. Yeah. Okay. So if you see like where it's cut in half, like right here, and you see a circle on this side and a square on this side, that's going to be a half stitch. So you're not going to be able to go through the holes that are already in the fabric. You're going to have to cut through the weave. Which this has a few of, but if you see it like this, where there's a little hole on both sides, generally I treat that just like this and put the line just over it. Or like these down here, you can just put the line over it, because the back stitching is all going to be done at the end, because that is the final outline. It has to go over everything else. Because if you did the back stitching now and then did these, you would go over the back stitching. So you don't want to do that. All right. Let me just actually see if I can no switch that. How do I switch it? Uh Hold on. All right. Let me zoom or move this over so that it's more centered to what we're doing here. All right. You can kind of see where we're at there. So, I can see by the pattern that I need one over to the left side of this, and then one, two, three, four, in addition to this one on the other side. So I'm just going to do the one on the left, and then go back and do the other four. All right. So there I have my first stitches, and I'm just going to mark off which ones I have done. And I will be right back with a small break. All right. So while Pixel is being herded outside like a mountain goat, let's put on I really do like the night dress. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if it zoomed in a bit on that. And hopefully you can see me just do a bit of stitching. If you have questions, comments, hit them up in chat, leave a comment below. If you are not subscribed, you could hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And let's do some stitching now that we're all set up and ready to go. Alright, got caught and pulled out of my needle, which happens sometimes. I'm a bit rusty, so just thread it again. And that's kind of why it is like this, where you don't knot it. So that, yeah. Also, it's easier if you discount and you're like, oh, I have to go back and pull it out. It's easier that way. Let me just do this. I don't think I need this. Staring at you. So this is a good example. This is going to be a half stitch. So instead of going all the way down here, I'm going to kind of just stab it in the center. Half stitch situation. You want to pull it tight, but you don't have to like wrench it, you know. Just make sure it's taut. Taut more than tight. Back. Have this close to me, zoomed in, you stick. Those little half stitches are basically the only time you really need the needle to be sharp. A lot of these kits, especially there's a lot of kits for beginners, have a pretty blunt needle because you don't really need a sharp needle. So what I'm going to do is you can see in the design, let me go back so you can see So this is where we started being the center of the design here. There's this little, like, this is just a little bit of Pooh's shirt, and then it'll go into a much larger section of his shirt. So I'm just gonna fill this in with the first stitch, come back up with the cross stitch, and then go from there to get the rest. And then actually from here, I may start, once I get back to cross stitching here, I'm probably gonna do this part and then do this up and down instead of side to side. And generally speaking, it doesn't matter which way you go. It'll be pretty hard to tell what direction you went, in terms of if you went up and down or if you went across. So put that back. I wish I could have some way for you to see where we're at, but actually, sorry, I have a chip. Let me put up a banner. All right, there we go. All right, let's get back to it. see here that I'm making X back up. The one thing I will note is that while I said it doesn't matter if you go, this way or that way or whichever direction, while all that's fine, what you do want to be consistent with is which direction you start. And I've always been taught that it is from the bottom left up to the top left. So this is where your first stitch should be. And then the cross should be from the bottom right over that to the top left. So to illustrate, for a big box, you would want to go in that direction. And then that. That. Hopefully that makes sense. And I can pull these out. You can see the back is pretty tidy with the way I started it. And when I finish it off, when I'm done with this bucket, when I'm done with this bit of thread, I can thread this underneath these stitches and grab the end of the loop, like the single threader here, and pull it back. That's the idea. And I have highlighted it all on my pattern so I know what I've already done. And like I said, I believe I will move to that other, like above the honey pot area. Let me that's not what I meant to do. Hold on. Know what happened? I don't know if y'all can see this. Becoming all right. Forget that. We're just going back to what we had. Ah. Nope. Go back to this. See the pattern. Or do you really need to just do that again, eh? All right, back to the stitching. When you're doing these little, because I'm trying to go up into this corner, there's a lot of these little half stitches. So I need to mark off that I already did these a little more frequently. Kind of track. Because sometimes you don't necessarily know how many stitches, just visually reference where you are in relation to your other stitches. But sometimes you just go back and count, especially if that's long rows and stuff. But these little half stitches are, well, also they're the only time you don't go bottom left, upper right first. It's like that stitch, there's only one little half stitch, and it just goes from bottom right to the center. That full stitch. Here, full, two, the other. If I could go with a full, that's where the little lines are. Start quick, like that. shirt. All right, this was Leisure Boots that created this. This is what it looked like originally. Looking at what it's supposed to look like, those stitches are pretty well in there. Yeah, those stitches, I don't think are half. I think they're whole stitches. So, yeah, I think they're whole stitches. So, I'm going to pull the film so that I can back track. Also pull this out. Where I'm going in the wrong direction. Spread out. I'm actually maybe going to switch to a little longer. Yeah, that's a lot. Hopefully you can see this one better. But not now. Yeah, this is not sewing. I got it there somehow because it is not big enough. Oh, back to our, if I had a see it better. But one, I don't know if those this. And two, uh, I really wouldn't want it like rubbing off anything. That would be I should note, do as I say, not as I do, because you just saw me go upper to lower, which is also acceptable. It's just, you want this way stroke done before this, whether you're coming up and in or up and then in, it doesn't matter necessarily. And I had to do that because I had crossed this little stitch already. Now I'm like getting to where the end of the string is too close, so I have to just kind of pull it up, widen that gap a little more, and hold on to it a little bit. Then it's a little wound up, and so periodically I just kind of let it dangle, wind. And I'm getting down to the bottom where I'm going to finish this string off and finish this thread off. That. So, what you can do, what I've always done in the past, because I've left myself room here, is to just this needle under the last, like a row. But I'm trying not to get it under white, just the red and the canvas, because if it gets under the white, Another thing you can do with these, see if this works. I'm not sure this is correct. Oh, I dropped it. I'm not sure that's better unless magnetic. All right, my little picture. I can't see what I don't know if that's any better. So for now, we're just gonna do it the way I learned it. That's the last stitch, so I can kind of get up underneath a little better. Just once I pull it, I'm just gonna pull it underneath too. Good. All right. Back. I can get this under here. Are you supposed to stitch over top of this? On one side of project, weave wire under several stitches around here. Yarn and open wire loop, insert yarn and open around. All right, exactly how I thought. This. Work a little. Got another one. Honestly, the first like one, I'm not too concerned with getting it under too many of them. Because we're going to be coming back. We're going to be coming back over something. So, just by the act of stitching back over it, it'll. So, then, possible, and voila. Okay. So, let me mark where I was. all of the okay. Just now, we do red. I will say that the grid conditioner does sometimes help to not get stuck so much, but not also probably at the place where I should try to cut off. Less, yes, I mean, it gets nasty because, like, I'm putting my thumb all the time to kind of hold things down. I mean, it says hinge, don't cut. Press thread against thread, have a draw across, pull between fingers to remove. Yeah, so you're supposed to eventually. Well, alright, so once again, oh, I have another neat mark. Sit over. Come on. There we go. Up, down, to start it. Back where we want it to be, basically. holes are really long. I actually adjusted this a little bit so it's not quite hot. Back up. So, boom. Just because I want it stretched, but I don't want it stretched so thin that, you know, it is pulling the holes further. But chip break. I'm not using some tweezers to hold the chips so I don't get stuff on. Even though there's not a lot of chip stuff on Chipotle chips, but they're salty, so you want to keep them off. When you've really got your stitches in there, like tight back behind stuff, you can gently hand wash these when you're done, which is what I would do. There's special like, washes and stuff, but honestly, like you can use a little bit of dish soap, or you could use like light, one of those like real gentle fabric detergent. Just use like a couple of drops and wash it by hand. So what I'll do is I'll wash it by hand. Um, I will, if there's any like white over here that has like dirt on it or something, but not like part of the stitch pattern, I'll try to scrub it a little bit. And then generally speaking, I will iron it, get this grease out of it, and then present it to the person's store. I know for this one, she will likely put it in a frame, in a picture frame behind glass, because that's how she has the one that I showed you earlier, the Dumbo one. For her older son, this one for her younger son will be in a similar frame. So think I think I already missed it. I think this little stitch is supposed to be here. So since it's a little half stitch, it won't make that much of a difference. That's what the last stitch was too. Oh, you do my regular. I might actually be able super freaking short. So we have two options. One, when you're just starting out, you can actually not cut them short and just trim them all. I don't like doing that. So let's see if we can right. Read. The other thing we can do is we can just fold it down carefully. Like fold it with our thumb as we're stitching and stitch over the back. If I can get a little bit back. Another this oh yeah. Okay. This thing did come in handy. How about alright. Make sure that these things are in the way, let's be perfectly honest, but actually tuck them into the spring. So yeah, they'll be they'll be fine over there. Okay. I always like when I stop and start like that, go back to my chart, mark where I'm this progress we've made about the last 45 give or take here and there. But not terrible. Back up here at the putting it where you can see it. benefit of having a longer needle is that you can go home more like weight, kind of push it all the way through and have it not fall back. Back where I was before. But up now, just parallel. Well, we found out that could be good for holding onto the needle on the upswing. Except it kind of gets in the way of the stitching on the back. However, it occurred to me that I have line highlighter. Maybe they might work a little better on this. Not quite saturated. But something for me to think about. Let me tell you, one of the reasons I like cross stitch is also one of the reasons I so one of the reasons I like let's just go back. So one of the reasons I like cross stitch is that it's not a craft that you're necessarily going to be done with it in an afternoon. There's all this stuff here that you're going to need to pack away and keep track of where you were at to pick up another time. Now, if I started this at 8 in the morning and stitched all day, I don't know, maybe I'd finish it. Probably not. I mean, this is a decent size. There are smaller, like ornament size you can do that absolutely you can finish in an afternoon. And if you want recommendations or links to any of those, I will put them in the description below. But what is in the description below is all of the things that you would generally need to do this. I've linked to the project. I've linked to I put all the threads down. I didn't link to needles, but that's because I just kind of accumulated needles. Maybe I'll add that. I'll add needles to the description. But yeah, I like it because it's not going to be done in an afternoon. I also hate it because it's not going to be done in an afternoon, and I am impatient. So, we do what we can. It's also really relaxing. So you can sit here. What I often do is, I will very often sit and watch TV and such. And it's just, you just kind of keep going, and it's right here, and then you can put all this stuff away. I have a work in progress bag that's just like a little promotional drawstring backpack I got at a conference. And so in there I have this chart. I keep it on here, which I said before. I'll put this on the description as well. Will brand also makes a lot of brand makes a lot of cross stitch stuff. But I'll put description in the description below. And yeah, so I'm gonna continue doing this. And when we pick up the next time, which is going to likely be next week, I will be further along. Then we'll get together, we'll talk about it, and I'll show you my progress. Maybe I'll do a midweek stream if I'm like working on it midweek. It'll just be like an ASMR type stream where you'll see me doing it, but I'm not going to be talking or anything because maybe watch another content. That's how it is. So that's where I'm going to leave you today. Please like this video. If you liked it already, please share it with your friends. I know it's a long one, but the first hour of this is a really, if I do say so myself, pretty good tutorial on how to get started with the cross stitch and how to cross stitch. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you so much. See you soon, and I will talk to you. Bye. Bye.